Welcome into Game Night. I'm your host, Alex Flum, and it is a good day today because we had an NFL game happening in the DMV last night. Tiger Munn with me now. I'm Alex Flum. Thanks for joining us. The Washington Commanders beating the Miami Dolphins 20-7 in their first preseason game. I know wins and losses don't matter right now, but it was nice to see football happening, and it was nice to see some of these guys have a good game.
Yeah, and like you said, wins and losses don't matter. What does matter is seeing these players get out there and seeing them actually hit against a team that doesn't have the same jersey color as them, seeing them actually compete. Because, yeah, while we're not seeing the ones play, the twos and threes are playing for jobs, careers, and, life's dreams. So there's still a lot of stakes out there, and guys are still trying their absolute best. So there's still some football and still things to see. But, yeah, definitely a lot of good debuts for the Commanders.
And we're going to talk about Sonny Styles making his debut. But first, I want to talk about Tiger Munn returning to the basketball court. I heard a rumor.
Yeah, I played some hoops the other night. So none too crazy,
Can you tell us your stat line?
I think I scored like 7 points, had a couple assists, but yeah, I had more steals than defensively is where I really shine. I mean, I try to.
Yeah, I'm the same.
To try to be more like Kawhi kind of build. Yeah.
All right, well, why don't we get into some Commanders talk? Sonny Styles making his debut, seeing his first game action, not official regular season, but preseason. He was in there in the first series with the first team offense or first team defense, whoever was out there. Here's what Sonny said after the game. First NFL preseason action. What was it like just to be out there officially in a burgundy and gold uniform?
Yeah, it was awesome to be out there. Awesome to see the stadium, be out there with the guys. Dream come true. I'm excited. We got the win today. Just excited to keep going.
How do you feel like you did out there in your first action at the linebacker position here with the Commanders?
I mean, it was okay. It was one drive. It wasn't really up to my standard, but it is what it is. It's the first game out there, first preseason game. Got a few more, and then got the real one here in a few weeks. But just want to make the most of the reps. Just keep getting better.
We've talked to Leo 3 times this offseason. Every time he is just praising you so much. What have you learned from him? What's it like to have him alongside you?
He's awesome. Obviously he's won a Super Bowl. I mean, between him and Frankie, those are really 2 good vets to have in the room. Just learning the process, taking care of your body, pre-snap, what they're seeing pre-snap, getting on and off blocks, just a bunch of different things that they've experienced throughout their careers.
All right, so Sonny was in on a few tackles. He seemed to have a good command of what was going on. What did you think of his debut there?
Well, I think he was a rookie. I think he looked like a rookie in his first game in the NFL. I did think a few moments that the game speed kind of did catch up to Sonny a little bit. I do really like the way he covered, though. I mean, one of the hallmarks of Sonny coming into the draft was definitely his ability to cover. I mean, he's athletic in space. He can move. And, of course, he's fast and can definitely flip his hips faster than most linebackers actually can. So I like that, looking at that, and he looked really comfortable doing that. But, in the run game, he does need a little bit of work, but he's a rookie. This is his first game. He's not going to come in and be Ray Lewis his first game out there. Let's be realistic here. I mean, it's going to take a couple games for him to really understand how defense works when you have guys that also practice against you in front of you. And I still have a lot of confidence in Sonny. I mean, he didn't blow any assignments. I think that's the number one thing. So, I've seen some people online say overreact and panic, but it's the first game. I don't think there's any reason to panic. And I have all the confidence that Sonny is going to be an elite rookie defensive player the past 10 years at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I did see a video of every single defensive snap he played, and I watched each one. And what I noticed was the Dolphins were going wherever he wasn't. And I think that's a testament to the impact he is going to have, that when he's out there with the front 4, when he's out there with the secondary and a full defense, I think we're going to be able to see Sonny make an even bigger impact, because they're not going to be able to do that where Sonny's not going to be the only great player on the field. I know Leo Chenal was out there as well. But then we are also going to talk about what the defense did as a whole. The Commanders forced 3 turnovers against the Dolphins. You see here, Ale Cajo had an interception. Quan Martin had an interception. Malik Spencer had an interception. And this is something the team has struggled with. They were excited to show off what Durante Jones' defense could look like going forward.
You got guys flying around making plays, and it's a huge credit, to Coach Jones, and his first time out there too. So it's exciting, and hyping him up, and he's doing a great job play calling. Guys are making plays because of him.
That's all we talk about. The ball is life, and we just been working that all throughout OTAs, really started OTAs, man, when we first got the opportunity. So just to carry that all through camp and just try to get the ball any way possible, punch, rip out, interception, just give our offense another opportunity.
I feel like we got way more to show, way more to do, way more to cover, way more defenses. I feel like that was kind of like basic, but we have way more in the bag. Coach DJ, he's great. He's a gamer, great DC, great coach, great person.
All right, so Tiger, this Durante Jones defense, if this is our first glimpse of what it can be, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Sonny Styles a little bit. Part of the reason why Sonny Styles didn't make as many plays as a lot of people wanted him to make was because the defense was making a lot of plays. I mean, this team overall looked really good last night. I know we're in preseason, Dolphins aren't expected to be too good. We can say all that, but this defense was really bad last year. Let's be honest. They were bottom half of the league, bottom quarter of the league. And they didn't look good in preseason either. So to look good in preseason now is a step in the right direction. That's what we've been talking about with this team. That's what we've been looking for with this team. Can they move in the right direction from last year, a really rough year? And it does look like that. Durante Jones, a lot of the guys talk about him so highly, so I'm really confident in that. But I do like the way this defense looks. I mean, I really did hope they look good because they look bad. That would be a problem. But
this defense, I know this is preseason. I know these are the backups. But they seem to have it together, and they seem to be tackling better and chasing the ball better than I think they almost ever did with Joe Witt. And forcing turnovers has been a huge problem for this defense. It's something they haven't been able to generate the last several years. And that's a key emphasis of Durante Jones's defense. Be aggressive, strip the ball, pick it off, be in the right place. And he wants these guys to be fast. And it's like, it's okay if you make mistakes, but try to make a play, because we saw it in that Vikings game last year. He was a part of that staff against the Commanders. And I think Jake called it his audition, his interview, and he did a pretty good job. And if he can translate some of that to the defense, we didn't even see the starters out there, most of them. This is the backups and third stringers, and this is how they played. Imagine what the starters are going to look like. And I know a grain of salt, this is against the Dolphins, but could be a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign. I'm glad you brought up that Vikings game because they were running all over the field that game.
Well, speaking about running all over the field, the Washington Commanders running backs had a heck of a game. Katron Fat Man Allen, 23 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Robert Henry Jr. showed some great burst, 12 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown for him. Tiger, what'd you think about that running game?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this running back room. And I think the fact that both those guys, two guys that aren't like 1 and 2 in the depth chart, getting 15 plus carries shows you just where the Commanders are with this running back room. They have a lot of confidence in our depth, and they want to have depth. I feel like when Austin Eckler went out last year, that was kind of them learning their lesson, because when Eckler went down, the running back room looked completely thin after that point. So now they want depth. They want guys that can come in and out, and they want guys that can do different things. Rashad White's a very good player out of the backfield. Both passing and running the ball. If you had him in fantasy a couple of years ago, I'm sure you know that. I did.
I had Bucky Irving, so
so
I was watching those games.
He was watching those games. But Jeremy McNichols, veteran running back, he's a guy that knows how to run between the tackles. And then you have a guy like Bill who has an amazing burst. And you got young guys that can also kind of do a little bit of both as well in terms of running between the tackles and having bursts. So, yeah, I think this running back room is the strength of this team at the current moment right now.
Yeah, and when these guys that aren't at the top of the depth chart can do stuff like this, it's pretty impressive. And we heard from Katron, Fat Man Allen, and Rob Henry Jr. after the game, and they were pretty hyped up about the success that they were having.
After the first play, I definitely felt comfortable because, I got my first hit off, and I just felt like I was supposed to be there. I feel like I'm going to be able to express that more throughout the season, but definitely the way I move, I feel like I'm twitchy, I got speed.
We both talked about it before it even happened, so us doing it, that's my dog, man, so seeing him score, I know I had to score just because he scored, and he just got me going, and Rod had a great game today.
So both of those guys having a great game, and, Tiger, you talked about it from the top to bottom of this room. Rashad White looked really good in the joint practice, burning some of those Dolphins defenders. Bill came on a lot last year. Jeremy McNichols, you talked about what he can do between the tackles, but he's a great blocker as well. Like, that's an underrated part of his game. And then you see these two guys shining in this game. Katron Allen kind of showing that maybe he could be the guy in short yardage situations that they lost in Chris Rodriguez. So, I mean, maybe we're in a situation where all 5 of these guys make the team. I don't know, because you're deep at tight end, you're deep at linebacker, you're very deep at receiver and running back. They're going to have some tough decisions to make.
Yeah, the trade button is still available, so maybe they can make a package with one of these guys. I'm sure that another team would like to have at least one of these guys on their team.
Yeah, so we will see what happens. Obviously, we remember a couple years ago they traded Brian Robinson, or that was last year. They traded Brian Robinson kind of out of nowhere. We didn't expect that
feels
coming.
like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it does feel like that. All right, well, coming up, we're going to keep talking Commanders offense after a quick break. Welcome back into game night. We are recapping the Washington Commanders' first preseason game against the Miami Dolphins, a 20-7 victory. And it was the first time we saw rookie quarterback Ethan Kaliakmanis, 7th-round draft pick, take the field. He went 6 of 10 for 87 yards, a modest production, but he wasn't out there too much. Saw him mostly really all in the second half. But he did have some good zip on some of the throws he had, and he was pretty grateful for the experience when we talked to him in the locker room after the game.
Well, I love playing the piano.
And that is not Ethan Kaliakmanis. We have a soundbite from him. You guys are going to have to bear with us for a second. We'll have to bring that back later. Tiger, why don't we just talk about Ethan first right now? We'll get his sound on in a little bit. What do you think about what you saw from him?
Yeah, what didn't he need to do as a backup quarterback? I mean, it's not like he's going to start, man. He's not going to be playing on this team realistically as long as things stay the course. But you want to make sure your backup quarterbacks are ready for the game in case things need to happen. And I didn't like that. I mean, a lot of people kind of wrote him off as a guy that's not going to make the roster. But I mean, he looked like a guy that can make the roster right then and there. So we'll see, because I still think Sam Hartman's spot on the team is still kind of up in the air. Every single year when his time comes around, and if he keeps out playing him, I think he could make this team. But at worst, I think he can be a practice squad guy. But I think that game kind of just solidified his spot on the roster at least.
So I have some thoughts on this. I don't think Ethan Kaliakmanis came in there and looked amazing, but I think Sam Hartman, for an NFL standards of a quarterback, looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Ethan Kaliakmanis followed that up with like a guy trying to land a spot on this roster. I know Sam is close with Jaden. I know he's been a big part of what they're doing at practices these last several years. But there was a point last season where the Commanders needed to put someone in at quarterback at the end of the year, and they weren't comfortable putting Sam Hartman into the game to help develop some players late in the season when you're eliminated from the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then he comes out in preseason when things are supposed to be easier and really struggles, in my opinion. I mean, he had a couple good throws, but he seemed like he was not quick in his decision making. He threw that really bad interception where several guys seemed to be open on the play. I think this is the time where keep him around if Jaden wants him around. I know they're close, but like keep him around on the staff, right? Or something, or practice squad at most, because Kaliakmanis, I saw enough after 2 throws. I think he deserves a spot on the team.
Yeah, that's what the preseason's about. Just finding those later in the roster guys, like who's gonna beat out who. Mm-hmm. We know who the starting quarterback's gonna be, but we know who QB2 is gonna be, but who's gonna be QB3? Because like you said, we needed QB3 last year. There was a point in time where there was a real decision as to who's gonna play quarterback, because Jaden's out, Marcus is nursing something. Who's gonna play quarterback? And they didn't want Sam Hartman out there. So it's great to have your friends on the team, but at a certain point, it's a business. You got to have the right guys on the team. You got to have the best 53 that you can possibly have.
Yeah, and the concern comes even more because Marcus Mariota was hit on a play. The following play seemed to be holding his leg, left the game, did not return. Dan Quinn said no update yet. We're going to find out on Sunday. Dan Quinn's going to speak around 1 p.m. We're going to find out what the deal is, hopefully more of an update. But if you're in a position where Marcus Mariota is out for an extended period of time, and you have Sam Hartman here, and you're Jaden Daniels, an injury who had, 4 of them last year, an injury away from Sam Hartman being the next guy in, who you weren't comfortable playing last year when you were eliminated from the playoffs, and you're in the playoffs. I mean, I think they're going to sign Jeff Driscoll any day now and bring him back again. But I just think you're at a point now where Sam Hartman cannot be in the picture in the quarterback room. He's a great guy. I have nothing negative to say about Sam Hartman as a person, as a friend of Jaden Daniels, as a college quarterback, but I don't think he has a spot as an NFL quarterback.
Or just put him on the practice squad or something, because
At least.
yeah, there's got to be some uncomfortable conversations now this year. We already got Jaden's already in a swamp of people talking about him for a different reason.
Yeah.
We already got like people talking about the team right now because of just how they ended last year. So when you're in this position, you got to have uncomfortable conversations if you want to win actual games. We can't be buddy. We can't be friends anymore. It can't be like sunshine and rainbows anymore. We're not rookies.
Right.
We're in our third year now. Let's play like, you know what I mean? Let's try to win a championship.
Yep, I agree with you there. And we're going to hear from another rookie on this team, Jaden Bradley, a former DeMatha star. We talked to him during rookie camp. We also talked to him last night after he saw his first preseason action. Here's our conversation with the other Jaden on the team. Playing at DeMatha, we talked before this offseason. The whole team was here tonight to watch your debut here today. What was that like for you?
It was amazing, man. It's a blessing to be in this position. First, I got to thank God, thank my coaches, thank everybody for the opportunity. It was just a blessing.
When all those kids that go to the school that you went to, the head coach was here, the kids were here, Nick Cross is here with you, a lot of Josh Wilson was walking around, a lot of DeMatha pride here tonight. But knowing those kids are watching you, like I saw them on the sideline and the coach was like, "Hey, 86 over there, he went here, he played for us." How does that make you feel to hear that?
Man, I remember being in their shoes, wanting to have an opportunity to get to this level. So it's humbling. I'm grateful for it. It's a great experience, man. Just being able to be a motivation to somebody, show them that you can do it. I went to the same place as you. You can get there as well. It feels great.
And that's a deep wide receiver room you guys got. What have you learned so far from having Stephon come in, from Terry, even from playing alongside, a guy like Van Jefferson or Jalen Lane? What have you learned from these guys?
It's a lot of experience, a lot of in-game experience, a lot of years behind those three that you just named, really all of them. Asking questions, being a sponge, taking something from everybody's bag. Everybody plays a little bit differently. Steph is more of a quicker guy. Terry's more of an X for real boundary guy. So just adding everything to my game so I can be a complete all-around receiver. Terry was great at Ohio State at gunner, so asking him questions about that, just all of the above.
And lastly, how'd you feel about your performance tonight? I know you had some good catches out there.
First of many. Yes, sir. All right. Well, looking forward to the next one.
All right, great conversation with Jaden Bradley there. Thanks to him for his time. Coming up, we're going to get you that Ethan Kaliakmanis interview. We're also going to hear from a couple high school football teams. That's coming up next. Work learning from Jaden, Marcus, Sam as well. Yeah. What was it like to finally get out there in game action and put that on display?
Oh man, like right now, the thing I'm thinking about is how appreciative I am of Sam, Marcus, and Jaden, because I went in there and they didn't have to help me. They didn't have to stay with me. They didn't have to do extra walkthroughs with me. They didn't have to send the means and answer my questions. But Sam did that, Marcus did that, and Jaden did that. So it speaks a lot. I just said before, it speaks a lot about the team and the veterans from the top down. Because I feel like this is home for me. And I felt like that the second I walked in. And the QB room, I can't say enough about it. They've been nothing but helpful towards me. They've helped me whenever I've needed it, even during practice. So I really appreciate them.
A lot of fans have been tweeting out how excited they were to see you making plays tonight. When you hear that, I remember how excited you were when you got drafted. Yeah. But you say it feels like home for you. What does that mean to you to kind of get the love from the Burgundy and Gold fans so far?
Yeah, right now it's just to keep everything internal, to stay where my feet are. Not get caught up into anything. It's very easy to do that as human. It's get caught up in human nature, and things are going really good. And one thing I've learned is it's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is. It's always staying level-minded, going back and watching the tape. And I'm the type of guy, like, all I'm thinking about is my bad plays right now. The plays where I could have been on time, the plays where I took the sacks. Can't take the sacks, got to play on time, learn from those mistakes. I can't wait for next week.
All right, that was Ethan Kaliakmanis as promised. Now let's get into some high school football previews. First up, the Coolidge Colts in the district. They had an impressive season last year and are hoping to continue that this year. Here's some of our conversation with their head coach, Kevin Nesbitt. Talk about what these guys were able to come in and do last year. How proud were you of this group? But then how much you were also stressing, okay, we had a good season. We came together as the season went on, but let's come out and build on that this year.
I mean, to be honest, we just had that conversation. They had a top 25, top 50, and we're not on there. So our guys don't want to prove nothing, but we don't want to be disrespected. Mm-hmm. We won the Turkey Bowl last year, and then this year guys are not acknowledging what my guys are doing. So they going into this season with a little something there behind that.
And then in Virginia, there is a program called Kettle Run at a smaller school, but a school that always seems to come out on top in a lot of certain situations. Jake Rom holding things down in Virginia for us, of course, and had a great conversation with Kettle Run leading up to their season. Take a look.
Last year's team is not this year's team. Like, we have strengths for each one of our teams, and we have to build off the strengths that we have for this year's team. We have some guys that are returning that have a lot of explosive abilities and play defense well, so we're going to build off of those things this year and hopefully put it together again to make another run.
All right, we'll be right back. We got one more thing for you. Welcome back into Game Night. Alex Flum and Tiger Munn here. Tiger, the Commanders will play the Lions in their next preseason game in Detroit. I'm expecting we might see Jaden Daniels. Should he play, and what do you want to see from him?
I think he won't play the next game, but I think he'll play the third game.
Okay.
Just kind of as a tune-up game. And regardless, whenever he plays, I just want to see him timing with the receivers. I want to see how the O-line plays with him, especially with that Tunsil injury. And above all else, I want to see him move and just look healthy. That's all I want to see. And, yeah, I'm excited to see him play whenever he does.
I think he may play in both. I think we might need to get a little bit of a glimpse of what the deal is with this offense and how they're going to look together in game action. Just get a little bit of reps, at least one drive. But we'll see. I don't know what will happen.
I can see either scenario, especially with the offense and injuries.
We will see which way that goes. Well, thank you for joining us today. Tiger Munn, I'm Alex Flum. We'll see you tomorrow.